The past few years of gaming have been quite interesting. Now, Western gaming has been straining hard ever since the last 2 to 3 years of the 360's lifespan, which was marked by high budget games that didn't sell quite well, resulting in studios closing, or in the case of Activision, becoming like extra studios to help with Call of Duty, the motion control fad crashing and burning, the rise of mobile gaming and online passes. However, when the Xbox One and PS4 came out, that's when Western gaming really took a nosedive. Sure, there were some good games made in the first few years of the Xbox One and the PS4's lifespan, but it's been marked by giant piles of mediocre games nobody wanted, along with many franchises big on the Xbox 360 taking nosedives. I mean, look at the Mass Effect franchise. Look how that franchise went from having a very strong first game and being one of the most promising new 360 series and ending up being a complete clusterfuck by the third game with a disappointing ending that everybody universally hated outside of Kotaku, of course. And then they made Mass Effect Andromeda, which was a sequel nobody asked for, and they had like their B team make it, and it fucking sucked. Like, everybody shat on it, and the only people defending it were, well, Kotaku writers doing the whole pity marketing where, please quit harassing these developers on Twitter. They worked so hard, and they made this game. It's good. Please don't make fun of them on Twitter. That's harassment. By the way, be sure to watch Ghostbusters, you bigot. Meanwhile, Japanese games have been making a comeback as Eastern European developers also rise to the spotlight. And no game sums up the comeback of Japanese game developers sales wise like Monster Hunter World does. Now, Monster Hunter World might as well be to Japan what 360 era Call of Duty was to America. Every time there's a new game, it dominates the sales charts and creates long lines at every store that carries it. And while the PSP was known for emulators and pirated copies of Grand Theft Auto in the West, in Japan it was known for Monster Hunter, and the same goes with the 3DS. You wouldn't see a neckbeard, a scrawny, gender-confused nerd you probably refer to as it, or a fat Tumblr chick playing Monster Hunter over here, preferring to play Pokemon, Smash, or Animal Crossing. But over in Japan, everyone was buying it on their 3DS. It was the top selling 3DS game. And it was everywhere. It was selling through the roof. And now Monster Hunter World is here on the US, on the Xbox One and PS4, and it's managing to do something the previous Monster Hunter games could not do in America. Bring the sales of Monster Hunter over to the USA, and they did this with a polished open world game that when it came out was in the top few games on Twitch and outselling PUBG for a while. But is Monster Hunter World really worth the hype? Well, to review this game, I wanted to play it for an extended period of time, but alas, luck wasn't on my side. Family Video only had one copy of the game and it was rented, and all the red boxes in the nearby area had Monster Hunter World being rented from them. Gamefly also had the game marked as either low or medium availability, which means you have to wait a while for the rental to come out. I had to drive 5 or 6 miles to a Walgreens in a shitty part of town to use their old rusty red box to rent it, and I got a 3-day rental for it. I guess many other people were asking the same question. Is Monster Hunter World any good, or is it just another $60 waste of plastic? Hell, when I put the game back at the Redbox near where I live instead of the one that's far out, the game was already out the next day. Somebody rented the game already because they asked the same question I did, likely. I mean, in Japan, Monster Hunter on the PSP was so popular that not only did like Sony have an app called Ad Hoc Party for playing that game online on the PSP, but many Wi-Fi adapters actually had an X-Link Kai mode in them in the driver, and X-Link Kai was something that many people also used to play Monster Hunter Online, and recently someone developed a plugin for 64 meg RAM PSPs like the 2000 that lets you play PSP ad hoc games online with anyone. That's how popular Monster Hunter was in Japan, but in America, Man, nobody gave a shit. Now, Monster Hunter World, the second you fire this game up, decides to get in your face and wow you with intense graphics. Just at 30 frames a second with a lot of frame rate dips, of course. I think the best way to describe the art direction and graphics is it reminds me of the time I got my GTX 260 back in 2009 before Windows 7 came out, and I was maxing out games, and even though they ran like shit, I was like, wow, look at these graphics. Crysis looks so great on max settings. I can run it at 15 FPS. Holy shit, even though it was barely playable. The game is getting a PC port though in a few months, which means that if your dad drives a Benz, you can fire this game up on your expensive PC with a GTX 1080, Intel Core i9 or AMD Threadripper, and lots of DDR4 RAM, hit the print screen on your expensive Razer keyboard, and post online screenshots and videos of your PC game maxed out while bragging about how much better you are with your $3,000 PC than those console peasants on a $200 game console. Blin Blin! While Western developers are too busy focused on black female Axis World War II soldiers, gender and sexuality flags on token characters to be worrying about silly things such as tightening up the graphics on level 3, let alone making fun games, Monster Hunter World shows that open world games don't need to look like a 360 game. While earlier Xbox One games might have looked like upscaled 360 games, or even worse, something like Mass Effect Andromeda, Monster Hunter World is the kind of game that has graphics that make you sit back and go, wow, this is what my console from 2013 can do. And it was only $200 too. It also can take advantage of the Xbox One X or PS4 Pro graphical enhancements in case your parents are rich. However, the game does suffer from longish load times, at least on my Xbox. Anyhow, the game might be heavily polished, but so was the arcade version of Gradius 3, and look how much of a piece of shit that game was. In fact, here's your assignment today. Go on YouTube and search Gradius 3 playthrough. There's a video of the guy being the PS2 version of it, and he dies a lot. I mean, you never see that in playthrough videos. You never see the guy dying a million times if he's trying to, like, do a whole completion run. You just don't see that. And yet in Gradius 3, it's such a piece of shit that you see that a bunch in it. So let's talk about the gameplay of Monster Hunter World now, because gameplay is what really matters. I mean, a developer can pull wool over your eyes with polished graphics, but what if the gameplay is shitty? So here's how Monster Hunter World works. When you log in, you have to find an online session, and that's because Monster Hunter World is, well, an online open world game. If it fails, you can create your own, or, well, just even play offline. It's not online only, unlike some games from, well, EA or Ubisoft, for instance. But the game is designed around multiplayer. It really is. And it has both an SOS system to, like, help get you back if you keep getting killed, or even better, it has, like, online co-op mode in it. And they even, like, one of the characters' dialogue says, if you're gonna fight tougher monsters, you better be doing it with others. Anyhow, the game starts out like a Bethesda game. You start out on some ship, and conveniently, right after you create your character and set your name, it's attacked and you're thrusted into the tutorial. The game throws a flashbang in your face with the sheer amount of polish this game graphically has, with more graphics than your Xbox can handle. While Fallout 4 overloaded your Xbox with 360 level graphics, this game overloads them with CryEngine level graphics. Then you play the game a bit more and you notice its flaws start to be apparent. The font from the menus is really small, there's no pause button, opting for a Fantasy Star style menu that doesn't pause the game but just displays a menu-like thing on top of the game. This restricts the game to something you can only play at night, especially if you live with parents, or live a lifestyle that requires you to actually, leave the Xbox with no notice first, and chances are your parents or your boss isn't going to accept, hey, I'm playing Monster Hunter. I need to slay some monsters first. This game doesn't let me pause. I can't come to the meeting. Or, Mom, shut the fuck up. I'm slaying some monsters and playing Monster Hunter, okay? I'll get my tendies later. No, don't tell me they'll get cold. My Xbox is more important, and the game doesn't let me pause it. What? You won't let me pause? They won't let me pause it? Go yell at Capcom or some shit. I'm in the middle of gaming. I don't care about my tendies. Just fuck off, Mom. But that's not the biggest issue with the game, oh no. See, the game is engineered to be a time sink, which is compounded by the fact that you can't really pause the game. Literally, I googled how to pause the game, and I just got half-assed workaround at suggestions that say, oh, see, you have to put your Xbox or PS4 into standby mode, and you have to go to the PS button and hit the pause button, and that might work. So basically, you have to beat the monsters and clear the mission in one go, and well, the game is designed to be slow as fuck. It's not like Bethesda games, or many Western games, at least before auto-saving was a thing, where you could just save anywhere. Where you can just save in a certain spot. And then, like, quit your Xbox, and then, like, get some food, and then come back and play again. Or like, save your game, go out to your important job, meaning whatever the fuck, that pays you more money than sitting your ass down and playing video games does, and coming back to finish your mission. You can't do that in Monster Hunter World, oh no. Oh no. You have to basically go at it in one go. Because if you don't, yeah, you can't do it. You basically have to exit out of the game and start the mission all over again, or hope your Xbox in standby mode pauses the game. And the game was designed to be slow as fuck too. So let's talk about the battle system. The battle system feels like a mix between Phantasy Star with regards to movement and gameplay, with the sluggish animations and health bar, and the whole difficulty coming from the long-ass animations of the Dark Souls series. While you get more health, the more you play the game, and the more you realize this was engineered to be a co-op game. The more you play this, the more you realize this is supposed to be a co-op game. Except while in games such as Payday 2 or Left 4 Dead, you can get co-op teammates. While in Monster Hunter, you get whoever joins your game. And good luck actually getting your friends to play the game, because if they're not down with the newest trends, if they don't have a lot of money, expect either, I don't have $60. I'm not interested. Or, sure, I'll play it if you buy me it. And while Payday 2 or many other co-op games can be ridiculously cheap, if you're buying your friend's $60 games full price, chances are you also have an iPhone X, and maybe an Xbox One X, maybe a nice AMD Threadripper PC. And the reason I say that is, well, the game's difficulty is the fact that the game revolves around being sluggish as hell. There are long animations for everything, from attacking to drinking a health item, to sharpening your sword, which you have to do because attacks are weaker if you don't, and you have to run away from the battle to do this. If you leave the battle, well, chances are you can't find the monster anymore either, which makes the gameplay even more of a slog. And you'll basically, half the gameplay is trying to find the monster you're supposed to kill. Now, eventually you'll run out of items and you'll get killed, and you'll remember why the game was so hard to find at red boxes. Did I mention there's also a time limit? If you slog and slog and slog and can't kill the monster, you'll fail the mission. Meaning you just wasted a lawful lot of time only for nothing of consequence to even happen. And after that, when you're in a burnt out mood from your shitty job you didn't want to work, the last thing you want is bullshit like that, where you're just wasting time only to fail the mission because you couldn't find the monster, because you got killed by the monster and you ran out of resources. And you wasted all this time for nothing. You wasted all this time for bullshit like that. Eventually you'll get bored of bullshit like this. You'll push the eject button on your console. You'll put the game in the case to take back to the Redbox kiosk. And you'll play some more Call of Duty Black Ops 2. See, I wanted to like this game, but Monster Hunter World is another case of polish over gameplay. It might sell in Japan, and it might sell to anyone who buys what's popular in Japan, because that's their form of escapism from the decaying corpse known as Western culture, and a little bit of escapism from their shitty job too. But it's not very good. It's just not a very good game. It's easy to see why everyone with the 3DS played Pokemon and Smash instead of this in America. Maybe it'll be a different story when it's $15 in the GameStop used bin, and you can buy enough copies for your friends to play it because the hype will have finally died out and people will be like, fuck this shit, I'm going back to Black Ops 2. Maybe then it'll be more fun when it's $15 in the used bin. You can buy it for everyone, but as of now, it's a boring and frustrating mess as of now. I mean, you can't just like put it in and pause it and go to other shit. I mean, they said they're designing it for Western gamers, blah blah blah. But you know what Western games have? They have something called a pause button. All in all, skip this game and play another game unless you're rich and the only games you buy are the ones you see hyped up at the local GameStop, the ones that they say pre-order now for. That's all that needs to be said, gamers. Thanks for watching and subscribe for more.